Our guests on this episode of the podcast are great friends of ours, and they are a husband and wife team. They both run and work on a 57-foot Capps Sportfish called On Location, and they travel the world with the owner, his family, and themselves, targeting all kinds of different fish species, blue marlin specifically, but also different tuna species. And currently they are wrapping up their tour over in Madeira and La Gomera. So pretty cool program. We've known them for, one of them for over a decade now. We've had the pleasure of fishing with them in Costa Rica aboard the On Location in Prince Edward Island with the Bruce brothers. And we actually met through the owner of On Location chartering us here in Massachusetts. So it all started there, and we've been fortunate enough to fish all over the place together. One of our guests, at just 29 years old, accomplished 1,000 blue marlin releases, both at the helm and in the cockpit, which is incredibly impressive. This conversation was awesome. We cover a wide variety of topics, stories. We discuss roles and responsibilities as a young captain, give advice for young mates, captains developing their careers, lots of fish stories, heartbreak fish stories, and we go into detail about what it's like in regards to logistics, shipping a custom sport boat on a container ship across the Atlantic Ocean. So this is a really good one. We hope you all enjoy this conversation as much as we did. Without further ado, please welcome to the podcast Captain Drake Sawyer and Katie Sawyer, a.k.a. Sea with Katie. Enjoy. Welcome to the SeaBros Fishing Podcast, where we follow 3 words of wisdom. You can't catch them if you don't have a hook in the water. Always trust your instincts. And the last, you'll just have to keep listening. Stay tight. That's the real one.
Am I coming off or what? Get that down. Don't get on that.
Hey guys.
There they are.
Hey.
What's up, guys?
We can't get sorry, we're trying to get it on my computer, but it's not working.
It's okay.
So we're not great at technical stuff.
You both look beautiful on the phone, so there's no need for the computer.
Thank you.
Stand by one sec.
Yeah, we're going to try and get ourselves set up a little bit better.
Cool.
Yeah, we did one yesterday. Someone was calling and kind of the same thing. It just kept ringing, I guess, for him. It wouldn't connect, which is strange.
Can you guys see us all right?
We see y'all great.
All right. Yeah, that's a hell of a studio.
Dude, this is a bedroom in my house.
We got Riley behind us.
Yeah, Ry guy's back behind us sleeping, so if he interrupts, that's what that is. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, you too, man.
I've never actually met you guys.
I know.
I was just about to say that. Very nice to meet you virtually, Katie.
Can you tell me which one's Brian, which one's Taylor? I'm so sorry.
I'm Brian.
I'm Taylor.
Taylor's
awesome.
Taylor's taller. That's the easiest way to remember.
But I'm slouching.
When you actually meet us in person. What'd you say?
I said I'm slouching.
You are slouching. You're like a croissant.
I know. We're both getting over colds. Well, you're kind of in the middle of one right now, but I've had 2 colds during the whole course of February, pretty much, and just now getting over them in March. It's been brutal.
It has been. It's been like a roller coaster of weather here. It's been like 40, then it's going to be 70 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's that time of year, though. We're starting to get anxious.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are anxious, though.
Luckily, we've gotten a little bit of fishing in to kind of cure it, but yeah, no, the anxiety's real over here for sure.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm sure you guys are adventurous and creative enough. I'm sure you'll get through it over the next few weeks here.
Thanks.
When was the last time you guys fished?
I guess that would have been about a week and a half ago.
Nice.
We're just not fishing on our operation.
Yeah, not on this boat, but with a friend of ours.
Nice.
And fishing's been good, but we're excited to hopefully get out on this boat in the near future.
We've been following.
Look at the eyes.
We know that feeling. That's like you have the look in your face right now when like we're expecting to go tuna fishing on a charter in the morning and they show up and they're like, we want to catch haddock. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
That's literally exactly what we look like.
Oh,
We're
God.
cutting off leaders and retying dropper loops for haddock.
I'm still optimistic for you guys, though. I think you're gonna put some numbers up on the boat at some point in the next few weeks, and you'll be stoked. Hopefully.
Hopefully, I love that. I love that positive energy.
Yeah.
So, how long have you guys been there?
We've been here in Gomera for just over 2 years. We got here February 14th of 2019
Wow.
It was 2020. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's 2020.
But it was a heck of a Valentine's Day. A crossing from Lanzarote to Gomera. No, it was fun.
That's cool. That's cool. You guys had some shit weather moving the boat to get hauled the other day, didn't you?
It's kind of interesting getting to the boatyard from here because you got to cross an acceleration zone. And it's not that bad. It's about 7 miles, and the boatyard itself is only 19 miles. But it's kind of funny to have to pick your weather to get to the boatyard, and especially getting back because the last thing you want to do is sit on the hard, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, it can get sporty in that channel, but it's not that bad. And then luckily we had great weather coming back, so we just kind of eased it back and didn't try and run the new bottom paint off, you know?
Yeah, we got really lucky. But asking Spanish people, like the Spanish boatyard, to drop us on a Saturday morning is kind of a gamble. But if we didn't get in the water, then what were we going to have to stay for like a week, right?
Yeah, I was telling them if we don't go in on Saturday, I'm staying here till Friday because
Which nobody wanted.
the last 2 days it was blowing over 45 knots here in the marina, which means the acceleration zone, it was blowing. I think they clocked 110.
Oh my
shit.
God.
It's serious.
You can't get across. It's impossible.
And so, real quick for the listeners, the acceleration zone is between the islands of La Gomera, which we are at, and Tenerife.
Gotcha.
Huh.
And it just funnels through there so fast.
That was an exceptional wind we just got this last 3 days, though. It's not normally like that. But if it's blowing 20 in the marina, it's blowing 40 in the acceleration zone, and it's tough to get across sometimes. But yeah, so we got the boat done, bottom job's done, and now we're just waiting to go fishing. So
Nice.
Well, hopefully it will happen for you guys, and
Hopefully.
and us too. Selfishly.
and I'm hoping y'all can be here for it as well. We've been working on this for years now, and I'd really like to see it come together.
I know.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But
Well, that's cool. Well, I know you guys have listened to episodes before. There's no pressure. If you say shit that you don't want in here, just let us know. We can cut it out.
Yeah, we're not live. We're
not live. We're just talking. So we usually start with random rapid fire questions, fishing related, non-fishing related, marriage related. You know.
Oh yeah.
All kinds.
It's gonna
of things.
get good here, folks.
And then we'll kind of dive into you guys and the on location program and talk about, you know, your extensive fishing in the Pacific and just the program as a whole. So if you guys are ready, we're gonna get after it here.
I think as ready as we'll ever be.
Yeah, you're never quite ready for these things. Let's see. Let's save that one for later. Do you guys have any superstitions on the boat or fishing?
superstitions.
I inherited all of Drake's superstitions, which are pretty.
I mean, we have some standard rules, you know, like just, you don't bring bananas on the boat for a tournament. I mean, not really.
Bananas.
The bananas is kind of just, everybody has the banana rule. It's nothing out of the
That's the thing. Drake, it's not a superstition. It's a rule.
Yeah, exactly.
No bananas on board. And he'll go as far as, like, that's banana boat sunscreen. Like, get that out of here.
Oh, all right.
God. All right.
If it
So
has a
it's
hint
real.
of banana.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Okay.
All right.
It is a real thing. But I have to say, I have a story that I've kind of kept to myself for a few years, but I think this is the time to say it.
Oh, this is lovely.
Like, I'm not allowed to have bananas on board, right? And we're fishing, and one day we're out at the Fads, and we aren't catching anything. We don't get any bites. The boats around us are getting bites. They're getting fish. I mean, granted, the boat next to us was Captain Bubba Carter, so to be said. But that night, I was putting on dinner, and I opened the freezer, and there was a frozen banana in there.
Oh my!
And I threw it overboard without anyone seeing it. I didn't tell anyone. This isn't the first time you hear that, is it? And the next day, it was hot, and we got bites, and we caught fish. I mean, it was one of our best days. So after that, I was like, okay.
Jake is like, that's incredible.
I mean, it's a superstition. You just don't tempt fate. You know, you might.
I am now a believer.
I feel like some people are immune to the banana deal. Like, there's definitely a select group of fishermen on this planet that are immune. OG's immune.
OG is 100% immune to bananas.
I wouldn't consider myself immune. Like,
What do you mean by immune?
Like, some people could fish with bananas on the boat and outfish everybody. And
yeah.
I see what you're saying.
To your point, you remove the frozen one, and that was the key ingredient to remove there.
Yeah, definitely. Trick.
All right, that's hilarious. Next one. Hypes and gripes of being married and working together on the same boat.
Let's start with Drake. I want to hear from Drake on this one.
I mean, when we have a very active schedule like we had in the past, it's not that bad because, you know,
he's in the doghouse already.
You're separate most of the time. I'm upstairs, she's downstairs. It's kind of, I think, like a normal relationship. When you're at the dock, however, it's a lot of time in a small space.
Yeah.
But we've made it work this long, so I think.
Yeah, you guys have been tested the last few years for sure.
Oh man, yeah, COVID really tried it out, but
it really did.
But luckily during COVID, I was forced to move onto the boat. And
I had an apartment, thank God.
Yeah, it's one day I was down here cleaning the boat, and the police came down and they asked if I was living on the boat. I said no, I'm just working on the boat. I live in town there in this little apartment. And they said, well, you can't come back and forth between the boat and the apartment. And so I said, well, what am I supposed to do? I got to come down and check on the boat. I can't leave the boat alone until you let us out of lockdown.
Yep.
And he told me that if he catches me on the boat again and I'm not living on it, then essentially he's going to write me a ticket, which the tickets were like €1,200 at the time. And so I just moved onto the boat.
Wow.
Yeah, and without getting too far into the extremism that is Spanish politics, we were essentially locked down for 3 months, like locked inside. We weren't allowed to go outside. You could take the trash out and you could go to the store, but only by yourself, and you had to carry your receipt.
Yeah.
As people were, they were checking, and if the timestamp didn't match up to your receipt, you got a fine. It was bad.
Wow.
But yeah. But I think it was a good thing for the relationship.
But yeah, not the yeah, we had 2 spaces there, but no, we make it work. And when we're traveling and fishing, it's a lot easier, I guess, than sitting at the dock for sure.
Yeah.
That's funny because I think like when we're fishing, sometimes I think it's harder because we don't actually get a chance to kind of like reconnect, if that makes sense. But the best part, which Drake did touch on, is that he can't leave the helm. Like, he's got to stay up there.
He's
so
tethered.
if I don't want to deal with him, anywhere else, he can't follow me. Really nice. That doesn't happen a lot, though. I promise.
No neck breathing when you're tethered to the helm up in the bridge. That's hilarious. My wife hates when I neck breathe. Like Claire will be cooking. I'm like, heat's a little high there. She'll be like, get the fuck away from me.
I'm starting to get like that in the kitchen, and I was never a cook. A chef. I'm definitely not a chef.
You're not a chef. That's
no chance in hell. I'm definitely not a cook, but now that Emily's, it's like I have to just hover.
Yeah.
It's awkward.
Yeah. Silent hover.
Yeah. Silent hover.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
Oh,
breathing out the mouth.
They can't stir it all on their own. You have to step in.
Right. Yeah.
Gosh.
I love it.
If I don't ask Drake to shred the meat or stir the pot.
Or chopping. Chopping. I filleted so many fish. It's just, I get anxiety watching her use a knife.
I'm sure Katie's knife skills are
probably
slightly
a lot better
than like our kitchen knife skills.
I don't know.
I saw you trying to cut like a 200-pound big eye with a bait knife the other day.
Yeah, I was like, y'all don't have a bigger knife because I'm having a really hard time gutting this thing. I don't think I can even get through the stomach.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right.
Yeah, it was.
Let's keep moving.
We'll keep moving. All right. On the theme of fishing together as a couple, as a family, what's one of your most memorable days on the water together? Be it a cool catch, numbers, or even like a heartbreak loss.
I mean, I've got one.
Go ahead.
I mean, to me, the coolest moment on the boat, for me personally, was the day that Drake, as a captain, released his 1000th blue marlin. That was just amazing. And to get to be a part of that was really, really cool.
That's insane.
That's awesome.
We've had a lot of good days on the boat. It's kind of hard to pick just one.
We don't have bad days.
Never. That's the mindset you got to have anyway.
Yeah, no, we've had a lot of stellar days. So that day was fun. I mean,
where was that?
That was in Costa Rica.
Yep.
Fads fishing there.
Yep.
What was that? Kind of walk us through that day. Was it multiple fish? Was it the one fish?
That was actually, that was a double that day. I forget exactly how many we caught that day. I think the
bite was good.
You know the fishing's good when you forget how many blue marlin you catch.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Probably caught 10 or 12 that day.
He's got so many he doesn't really remember.
Hey, that's
but we were just counting it down. We keep a log, obviously, and we knew we were getting close, and then counted it down. It was like, oh shoot, we got to catch X amount this trip, and then we caught that double, and it was fun. It was $9.99 and 1,000 all at once.
And he was, just to brag on my husband, because there are some things I think are super cool about him.
Just a few.
He was 29 at the time too, so it was under the age of 30. He released 1,000 blue marlins.
Has anybody done that other than you?
As far as we know, no.
I don't know.
I mean, I'd love to know if somebody else did it.
We got real lucky and got in on the fads really early, you know. But to bounce back to the memorable days, some days you get really bad weather and it's memorable. Some days are great fishing, and sometimes you got great people on board. I mean, there's just a lot of different things that can make a good day.
Yeah.
A lot more good days than bad, for sure.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I want to know if he's the youngest to get 1,000 blue marlin.
I mean,
if someone's listening and is a blue marlin statistician, is that the right word?
Sure. If it's not, it should definitely be a word.
Needs to let us know if that's a factoid or not. That's pretty cool. All right.
Let me ask one.
You asked this one. You came up with.
Oh yeah, this is my new rapid fire question. If you're gonna choose one, do you like being in the cockpit or being at the helm? This goes for both of you.
I like being at the helm. If I had to pick for the rest of my life, it'd be at the helm. But I have just as much fun getting in the cockpit and getting dirty and rigging baits and that kind of stuff. But the hunt is really my favorite part of it.
Yeah.
Trying to actually find the fish, and then once you turn it into a bite, that's the best part.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
But it takes people in the cockpit to turn that bite into a release, you know, and so it's a team effort. But if I had to pick one, it'd be at the helm.
And playing off of that, I have no desire to be at the helm. I'm so happy being in Drake's cockpit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just such an exceptional captain that he provides his team with a lot of opportunity. And it's really, really fun to get to play off of that teamwork.
That's awesome. One thing I noticed fishing with you in Costa Rica is like your level of calm is like this. Like there's exciting moments, and you know, we all have those moments, but like with you, there's no extra words. I always refer to that scene in The Office, like use less word, do more.
Do more, use less word.
Yeah, use more, do less. That's like that's how I picture you as a captain, or how I see you as a captain. You're like, it's like this the whole time.
He does not yell.
Yep.
He does not yell. If you're in trouble, you get the principal fingers, what I call it, where he points at you from the helm and tells you to come here. But he never yells. He won't yell when there's fish behind the boat. He just calls it out, and he talks to you the whole time. And I love it.
Yeah.
It is amazing. I mean, we've watched hundreds. We were talking about this yesterday. Hundreds of thousands of videos of people fishing, hours of videos of people fishing, and it's when you have multiple billfish jumping all different directions. Stuff's on the verge of tangled with your teasers. You got dredges hanging. There's like a lot going on. You got multiple anglers going crisscrossing back and forth, and he can have a full conversation with you up, on the bridge all at the same time while he's moving the boat around. It's like legit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that comp, like he's calculating it all in his brain, but he's also being able to talk to somebody sidebar conversation. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
He has to, I think it's so much more than just what, I mean, not to toot my own horn, obviously, but it's so much more than not just what the captain does, but for him to be able to have faith in his crew,
right?
To be able to do what he needs to do, and the crew's doing what they need to do. When it all comes together, it's. We've had people say it's like watching a ballet.
Right,
it really is.
Yeah,
it's good.
Nobody likes to be yelled at. When you start yelling at people, it makes them lose focus and get excited. And if you just talk to people, I found that it's a little easier to keep everything under control. Plus, you don't want people on the boat to think it's your first billfish you've ever caught. Like the first time you've ever seen a blue marlin behind the squid chain. Yeah. It's but I've definitely yelled a handful of times. Mostly tournament fishing. Fun fishing is different than tournament fishing. I can get a little excited tournament fishing, but
what do you yell at mostly for tournament fishing? Is it stuff that just doesn't happen? Like doesn't you say
one time he yelled during
one time.
That's not true, but
I'm pretty sure.
I love the banter.
I love it too.
Yeah. You got to focus in the cockpit tournament fishing.
You want to tell this story?
I don't know. There's a handful of times. There's a fish behind the boat, and it can get salty real quick.
I'm sorry. We just released a marlin, and everyone's just in the cockpit celebrating, right? And there's another fish behind the boat, and no one knows
there's
except
a marlin
for Drake.
Still tracking the boat, and everybody's giving high fives and yelling in the cockpit, and I was pissed. I'm like, get a fucking bait behind the boat. There's literally a marlin waiting.
It's funny because we did get a bait. The mate did get a bait in the boat.
No, Paul looked up and finally heard me and put a bait in the water, and I think he got bit on the leader. Like that's nuts. It was probably a 6-second release for the fish, and it was funny though. I think there's a video of it, but I'd prefer if it never got released.
Oh my god.
Do you want to ask this one first or this one?
Oh, so many good ones here. What's your least favorite PM, preventative maintenance box to check on the boat?
Ooh, probably the sump pump.
Yeah.
Katie's face.
Does she stay away from that?
Yeah. So that's Katie's job, is what you're saying.
She's got to flip the switch on the vacuum cleaner.
I hate doing sump, and I don't even have to get in the bilge.
That's amazing.
I would say the sump pump for sure.
Yeah.
I know that's mine.
The chinchillas coming out of that thing.
And unfortunately, ours is pretty hard to access, and there's no way to do it. But you just gotta dive in.
Oh God.
Good God.
So the more often you do it, the better. But when it's just us on the boat, it's not that big of a deal. But when you have a bunch of people passing through the boat, it's a little more difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, that's hilarious. I'll
ask this one next.
Okay, go for it.
So, you're running this big, beautiful boat. What's the most common misconception about running one of these boats or operating one of these boats that you think the general public has, that you may just want to say to the general public? What's the glorified thing that everybody thinks you do, but at the end of the day, you're not actually doing it?
Easy. Day off.
Yeah.
Oh, we're not fishing tomorrow, so y'all have a day off.
Yeah.
I wish.
No, we definitely do not have a day off.
People really seem to think that if we're not fishing, we are sitting on a beach somewhere with a margarita in our hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just sitting on the back of the boat,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
with the cushions. Like,
Right.
we have the cushions out when the people aren't
no
on
one
board.
ever has the cushions out with the people. Unless...
I
don't even think we had the
The
cushions.
engine
Did we
hatch
have
is
the cushions?
always open. The cushions are always gone. It looks like every sport boat when the owner's not there for the most part looks like just barren.
Right.
Or there's just shit work going on all the time.
Because it just adds more work to your life.
Yeah.
yeah. No, exactly. I mean, the boat keeps us very busy, but that's definitely my favorite misconception.
And Drake's so good about it too. Like, when people say that, he's like, yeah, like, he doesn't contradict them ever.
Right. Well, it's not worth it. I don't think anyone can understand.
Sorry.
Oh, I said it's not worth it. I don't think anybody could understand unless they do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. All right. Focusing a little bit here on the fishing, and then we'll start to dovetail into how you guys met, how the program functions, all that sort of thing. But if you had to pick one hook to use, one hook only for the rest of your life, circle hook or J hook, what would it be?
Oh, circle hook.
Hands down, circle hook.
Hands down.
What's your favorite type of circle hook? Let's say for blue marlin.
It all kind of depends on the size of the bait. I really like VMC hooks.
Yep.
I also like owner hooks, but they're really expensive if I could choose those two. In Madeira, we were pitching owners. We were pitching the big 12 and 14-0 owners. And in Costa Rica, we were using a lighter gauge wire VMC. But for blue marlin, yeah, definitely circle hook. Owner VMC is my choice.
Gotcha. I would say the majority is circle hook.
Yeah, I would say
it's over
everybody talked to.
75% of the guests that we've asked the question are circle hook.
I mean, and even our limited experience, with the tuna fishing here, I mean, it's kind of cool here in Gomera. If you catch a fish on a circle hook, they fly a flag for it, which you don't really see many other places, but they'll have a tuna with a circle hook flag.
That's
or
cool.
a marlin with a circle hook flag, because it kind of just promotes a healthy release, and also is kind of bragging rights as well. We didn't just go and snag this one trolling.
Right.
So
Yeah, there's more skill involved.
That's cool.
yeah, exactly.
Yep. That's awesome. So kind of take us through the Drake and Katie on location program, like Reader's Digest version. Like, we obviously know your early years fishing with Paul and when Bo was on the boat, and then you taking over as captain. Kind of start us there and fast forward us to now and fishing Madeira and now being back in Gomera on standby.
I've been with the on-low since 2009, and I took the boat over when we brought the boat up to Massachusetts, obviously, with y'all, when y'all were helping us fish up there. What year was that?
2011.
Yeah, 11.
It was 2011.
It was like, it was 11.
I was in my last semester of university, and I so badly wanted to do the Eastern Seaboard by boat, and didn't get to do it.
We would have caught one if you were there.
Was that when they...
it was like a lull, dude. It was like they were here for like a 2-week lull, and like George's was going off.
I mean, 2011 was tough because that was right when like it made a huge shift.
Oh, huge. The bait was all changed after that. Sorry, we're tangenting, but we're reminiscing here.
We left because y'all had that storm coming.
Yeah. And
because we were about to start doing George's trips, and that was kind of a disappointment to have to leave early, but we got to meet y'all and fish with y'all, and that led to Canada and some cool things, and hopefully Gomera eventually. But anyways, and then I guess we took the boat to Costa Rica the following year in 2012, but we go to Mexico almost every year, and then in 2012 we just kept going, took the boat to Panama. Katie was in university at the time.
I was doing my master's in Belgium.
That's awesome.
And the plan was
far.
The plan was that was a long, much different than living on the boat together.
Yeah.
But we were going to go to Panama for a season or 2 seasons. And then we took the boat to Costa Rica in 2013, in which we stayed for 6 seasons there.
I think, didn't you only have you were only going to go to Costa Rica for 3 months, right?
Yeah, we were going to go to Costa Rica, fish the fads for 3 months. And then Paul came down and we fished out of Golfito. We went out there and I think we caught 17 in 3 days, which was just mind-blowing at the time. We were sitting in Panama and I started hearing reports about people catching, a dozen fish in a day. I heard 18 fish in a day and was like, no, that's not true.
all blue marlin.
All blue marlin. Yeah. And so we decided to go check it out for ourselves, and then we kind of just never left. But then, so we fished Costa Rica for 6 seasons. I took the boat over in 2014, and then Katie at the beginning of 2014, beginning of that season. And then Katie moved to Costa Rica at the end of 2015. And we were fishing with Paul's clients and friends, and luckily we were getting to fish a lot in Costa Rica. We put a lot of days on the board and let a lot of fish go. And then we traveled to Mexico in 2018. Kind of our last hurrah in the Pacific, because we started talking about this Madeira, Gomera, Eastern Atlantic trip. And then fished Baja, fished in Mags Bay for a season.
That was really cool.
That was killer.
We actually talked to Ali Husseini yesterday from local.
Who's that?
Ali Husseini from Local Knowledge, the fishing show Local Knowledge. He was talking about Mag Bay yesterday and was saying the same, similar to what you're about to get into, that it's just like a magical place.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, we were talking about leaving the Pacific, and it's just, you got to go. It's 1,800 miles from Costa Rica, but it's worth,
which
it's
is
worth
the same distance approximately as getting back to Texas from Pacific Costa Rica, just to put it into perspective.
That is insane.
Wow.
But it's worth the trip, and we had incredible fishing. And then we essentially went back to Costa Rica, got the boat prepped to leave, and brought it to Florida to put it on a ship and come over here. And then we got over here and
We're Canary Islands.
yeah. We shipped the boat. Originally, we were planning to ship the boat from Florida, from Palm Beach, and at the last minute, they made us move the boat to Savannah. So we ended up shipping out of Savannah to Gran Canaria here, which is just 2 islands over from here.
Yep.
How many miles?
I think it's probably
60?
like 90 miles. But then we moved the boat to Lanzarote because I had been recommended to stay in Lanzarote for a little downtime before we were coming to Gomera.
That's where we got married.
It's awesome.
We got married while we were there.
Might as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then we came.
Then you did the sump pump the next day.
Yeah.
Uh,
But then we came to Gomera with high expectations of bluefin fishing right before COVID hit, and that definitely slowed our program down. I mean, the wheels were moving pretty fast there for many years, and then it kind of came to a dead halt.
Yeah.
But luckily, they opened Europe back up last year. We were unable to fish Gomera again, but we made a bunch of friends here and were able to fish with some other boats and, kind of get to know the fishery a little bit better. And then we fished Madeira this last year, which was good for Madeira. It wasn't awesome fishing, but it was still good fishing and big fish, which we had limited experience with. And now we're back in Gomera hoping to tuna fish again.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Talk about Madeira a little bit more. I've done a pit stop there when I was at Mass Maritime on the ship. We weren't there very long, but
did y'all pull Funchal or what?
We were anchored just off of Funchal, I believe. We got delayed because we got hung up in the beginning of our hitch in Norfolk, Virginia. Our I want to say our freshwater maker shit the bed. We had to wait for a part. We were supposed to be in Madeira for like a 4-day lib, and we all had plans to surf and fish, and like we were all stoked. And then they reorganized our trip, so it was still amazing. It was one of the best experiences of my life. But we went to Civitavecchia, which I'm probably butchering the name, in Italy, and we were in Rome for 4 days, and then we went to Barcelona for almost a week. And then a kid got hurt / we just did a pit stop in Madeira, had to drop him in Madeira to fly him home, and then went home. But so I didn't really get a chance to experience Madeira, and it's like a bucket list location, obviously, for most fishermen.
Everybody.
But I've always been like mesmerized by it, so I'd be interested to hear what your experience was like.
This magical island, like it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. It's just spouts out fresh water. It's totally different than the Canary Islands, which are very dry. But
as far as on the island, it's an incredible place for sure. Like she said, absolutely beautiful. Waterfalls everywhere. And then
pretty good food.
Flat calm every single day with big blue marlin. Like, what's not to love, really?
Yeah.
It's a frustrating place to fish because you can go long stints without seeing a fish, which everybody who kind of follows what the fishing is in Madeira knows that you better anticipate going days without ever even seeing one. Which, coming from Costa Rica, was a completely different fishery.
I was really, to be like truthful, first exposed to bill fishing in Costa Rica. So this is what I knew was the Costa Rican bite, and we take it to Madeira, where we were. How many days was our longest stint without seeing a fish?
We went 8 days without seeing one, and we went 13 days without catching one.
It was brutal.
Wow. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, that sounds like giant. That sounds like giant tuna fishing. Except you see them. That's the worst. Well, you don't actually see anything. You see a little mark that you think is a tuna fish under the boat.
Yeah, exactly.
From experience, but he just doesn't want to nibble.
To add a similar story to kind of dovetail on that shock and awe of having 18 shots of blue marlin in a day and then having one shot in, almost 2 weeks. My wife's, to your point, Katie, your first experience bill fishing in Costa Rica, seeing those numbers. Claire's first day tuna fishing was in PEI, and we were maxed on releases and home at the dock by like 11 o'clock in the morning. And so her first experience actually tuna fishing was in Canada, and then that trip's over. We're fishing the fall here in our home waters, and it's like twiddling our thumbs for days at a time. She's like, "Is this still the same thing?" Or
yeah, totally relatable.
Yeah. So what's like the distance offshore you're fishing? Like where around Madeira are you fishing? Like I'm assuming you're fishing in the lee side of the island, pretty close to shore, that sort of stuff.
You're fishing in the lee, and I mean, you only run the boat to kind of blow the motors out after a couple days. I mean, you literally drop the riggers coming out of the jetty.
We throw the shotgun out of the cockpit as we're leaving the jetty.
That's
sick.
Insane.
And yeah, I mean, I think the closest fish we raised was, I think it was 1.2 miles from the marina. Was the closest. We didn't end up catching that fish. We had it on a straightaway or on the boulevard back home, and it was super dark. We were about to get in past dark, and the fish came up 1.2 miles from the marina. Nobody was really paying attention anymore. ate the teaser and went away. But yeah, I mean, you're fishing immediately when you come out, and if you got 2.5, 3 miles offshore, you felt like you're kind of out in the blue. You were way off the edge at that point in time, and the biggest decision each day is whether you want to turn right or left.
It's wild.
That is.
The island's so steep, and the sea floor is as well, obviously. So it just drops off, which is why you've got these big girls out there just ready for a bite.
That's
but
so cool.
we did get some weather. It's windy around the corners. We did get some weather and do some exploring. It never paid off.
We saw some cool whales. That was fun.
The whale watching was killer.
The whale watching.
But yeah, just kind of sum up that season. We ended up fishing 40 days, and we caught 10 fish. And it's kind of odd how all the numbers lined up in fives, but we raised 25 fish, and I think raised 25, had 15 bites, and caught 10.
I was so happy when we got that 10 number. I was like, oh,
double digits. Yeah, that's a sweet spot right there.
Did you see a big difference in how aggressive the fish were there compared to like the Costa Rica FAD program?
So that's a big topic of discussion. I have heard from many people that bigger fish can be slower, lazier, aren't prone to tease as well. I haven't seen a lot of them in my experience. I won't claim to be a big fish expert, but I did see big fish move very, very quickly. And we had 800-pounders eat the teasers like a 200-pounder would,
Yeah.
all the way to the boat. At the same time, the biggest fish we did see did not tease to the boat, and that was the fish that fish will haunt me for the rest of my life.
Yeah. You saw that fish.
We saw that fish on July 3rd of all days,
the day before the World Cup,
and it's kind of a funny story. We had a fish on. The way we were fishing in Madeira, we did have 2 long riggers with hooks in them, and then we were teasing everything with dredges in the water up close. And I saw the fish on the left long, and we were kind of set up to tease with our J hooks, which was kind of an experiment. But beside the point, I saw the fish on the left long, and I started yelling down, "There he is, left long, get ready." And we'd try and tease them from the left long if that was an option, or if they just would come up and eat the lure, great. I didn't want to see this fish disappear. And as I'm telling them there's a fish on the left long, the right long goes off, and they're like, "All right, everybody's in the cockpits like, we got him, all right." And I'm like, "That's not him. I am looking at. Forget about that fish. I don't care. I don't care about that fish. I want this fish.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, and you go days and days, and then all of a sudden we got a double in the spread.
Yeah.
And I really, honestly, couldn't care about that other fish because what I was looking at was a very, very big fish.
Nobody else saw that fish, too.
And then the fish.
I didn't.
The fish faded to the shotgun, and was still big. But what stuck in my head was that it came up very, very excited, was darting around the left lung like it was like we were holding still essentially, and the fish was over 1,000 for sure.
Gross.
But we ended up catching one about 550 or so, which
it's fine.
It was all right.
Sorry, go ahead.
I knew where I was fishing for the World Cup the next day. So we kind of left at the end of the day. We were like, all right, there she is. We know exactly where she is. We're going right back to that spot. And I did. I went back to that spot and just drilled a hole in the ocean for an entire day and never got a bite.
That's wild.
I do feel like I want to say real quick, when we got to Madeira, the first day we got a fish and we released it, and it was like a 200-pounder, and we were like, what is this?
Yeah.
We came all the way over here, like a 200-pound
They
fish.
followed us. Thankfully,
it was the only one we saw even close to that size.
Still, though, you must have felt really good, like getting a release early upon arrival, you know, and it boosts the confidence level immediately, I'm sure.
Yeah, true.
You know, I mean, back at the dock in Madeira, there's a camaraderie, and if you caught one, it's awesome. You know, everybody's really congratulating you when you get back. Way to go, you got one. You know, which is much different than what we've been used to. But so it was kind of cool for sure to get to see that group of fishermen at the dock every day, and yeah, like you said, to get one was definitely like, all right, we're on the board. You know?
Yeah. Wow.
Awesome.
How is the interaction between like you guys and the locals? Like, was the knowledge shared pretty openly? And did you talk about, you know, what's going on out there? Did you have to figure it out a lot on your own?
No. In my experience, almost everywhere we've been, people are pretty open. And it was the same in Madeira. You know, anywhere we go, I try and reach out to as many people as I possibly can there before we ever even get there. And so I had spoken with some people there, hadn't ever met them in person, but already had made some contacts. And then once you approach them with requesting information about, you know, the marina, how to get there, how to make a reservation, stuff like that, when you get there and start talking fishing, I think it kind of opens it up, and they're a little more willing to help. And I always try and help people out too. Like, hey, we're coming from the States. Do you need me to put anything on the boat?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
And try and help out as much as you can. And but no, everybody there was pretty open. And yeah, there was a good community in Madeira. It was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to these places, do you already have contacts lined up, like fishing contacts, guys you know you're going to be talking to, or maybe guys you've already been talking to?
I mean, I'll call, and I guess I don't really do much on social media. Katie takes care of all of that, but
she does a good job at it too.
Thank you.
Yeah, she does. But I try and reach out and find people that are there, and that may mean me calling somebody who gives me a contact to call another person to get in touch with them, you know?
And the longer we've been traveling, the more connections we make,
Yeah.
you know, and then the more people that those people know, and the network's gotten bigger and bigger, and it's been, we've met a lot of really, really great people that have given us a lot of help.
Yeah. And sometimes you can just Google, get a phone number. I just Googled Peter Bristow's number and called him, and you know, he's the legend. And I was like, hi, I'm
So
Drake. I'm
nice.
bringing this boat from the States to Madeira. Can I pick your brain? And he's just super awesome and was extremely helpful. And then I'm ordering some baits for the dredge from a buddy of mine. And he's like, oh, yeah, I did a season over there. Like, oh, who'd you fish with? And he gave me that contact, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, you kind of just start talking to people and you figure it out. And then I'll try and contact as many people as possible and get as much info before you get there, you know.
Yep.
What's been the most difficult place to get tackle?
Ooh, here.
Tackle.
Definitely the Canaries.
We have to go to Tenerife to get anything for the boat.
No, I'm sorry. Madeira was even worse.
Oh, that's
Madeira, there is nothing for tackle in Madeira.
That's true.
Like, zero.
Much less boat care.
Yeah, you would think it would be a bigger island, but there's very limited supplies. I mean, anything pertaining to.
And getting anything shipped to these locations is close to impossible unless you're willing to pay a significant arm and leg fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely different over here in Europe. The tackle stores and marine supply stores are not what you're used to. Even in like Costa Rica and Mexico, you know, you can get a lot of things you need, but
Cabo was a dream. But like PVC plumbing and stuff, like that's not a thing.
And everything's metric.
Wow.
Oh yeah, everything's metric and
yeah.
It's like that scene from The Hangover. It's just like equations going through your head at all times.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like what would be a super easy, simple project in Florida is like a big nightmare here. Plumbing in the water maker.
But yeah, the tackle, you know, every time we go home, I fly home with empty bags and then fly back with full bags.
Yes,
you know?
you do.
Yeah.
But
what's like what's something? Have you ever had something confiscated at the airport that you're like, fuck?
Oh my God. We traveled from Texas with my wedding dress and Drake's, and I say Drake's, but Drake had the certified scale.
Oh
God.
It essentially looks like a bomb.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so we had a lot of special treatment on
Yeah.
that flight. It took 3 weeks of travel. We went to like 3 different airports, securities, because we had to go through Heathrow and then Europe and 2 different airports in London. And it was a nightmare. But
I've learned pretty well what you can and can't fly with. You know, I would still try and fly with stuff to Costa Rica, but like, you can't fly with fire extinguishers. I didn't know that at one point in time.
Fire extinguishers are a nightmare.
Yeah, but,
bug bombs. We can't get bug bombs.
Yeah, we got small roaches on the ship coming over
Oh my God.
here.
Word of advice to anyone who wants to ship overseas, put bug bombs in your boat because you're not going to be able to get them over here and you're not going to be able to fly with them.
Interesting.
But yeah, flying with the certified scale is always interesting, especially when you get over to places that English is not their primary language. You're like, no, it's a scale for what? To weigh fish. No.
He had his like lure heads and his scale, and they're like, what is that? We just know the things that are going to cause red flags. And
I've flown with some koi lures, and it's a $300 head, his double XL poi dog. And when you get over here, you'll be in London, which they do speak English, and they'll pull it out and they're like, what is this? And you're like, it's a fishing lure.
they're like,
Yeah, okay. Like, what are you catching, a T-Rex?
We're going to have to take this back and check it.
that's fine, but don't scratch it.
I swear it's a fishing lure, you know?
You're lucky they don't cut the head open.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Everyone's been super nice though, right?
Most of the time, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a bad experience, but
What?
Even in Corpus, like that, you have to put your bag through the machine first, and we sit and wait. They're always like, you can go ahead, and we're like, well, we're gonna wait because you're probably gonna open it, and then you're gonna probably have to get in there.
Yeah. That, and you always tell customs it's worth a quarter what it is.
Oh
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. staying on the topic of travel, and Katie mentioned it a little bit, but walk us through kind of the process of putting the on location on a ship in Savannah and sending it across the Atlantic Ocean.
Well, I think you should start with power, which is something that's completely over my head to this day. I will take full credit on that.
To that.
Well, it was super important in the crossing.
What she's talking about was prepping the boat for the trip, because everything in Europe's 50 hertz versus 60 hertz in the States and Central America and stuff like that. And so that was a lot of prep for preparing for getting over here in Europe. We can dive into that if you want, but if shipping the boat, it was our first time shipping, and shipping's become a lot more normal in the sport fishing industry. I mean, people are shipping their boats so you can fish the season in mags and then at the same time be fishing, tournaments in the Gulf at the same year or whatever. You can ship all over the place. It was our first time doing it. And I think an important note about shipping is to get as many bids as you can from different companies, especially when it's a big ship like that. You can kind of get them haggling and get the price dropped a little bit and try to pick the right dates. But they told us we're going to ship from Palm Beach. We were there, and then they called us and said, "Can you be on a ship in 10 days?" We're like, "Whoa, no, I've got 2 projects going on." We were supposed to ship in, I think it was 3 weeks, and then they moved us to Savannah, which Savannah was pretty cool because it's way up a river.
Savannah was super cool.
I've been there a few times. Cool city.
Yeah, super cool. But basically drive the boat up the Savannah River and pull up next to the ship, and they put the slings down just like the boatyard, and we were the only boat on the ship coming across. So
wow.
It was a Dutch ship that was shipping paper, like giant rolls of paper, and then they put a top over the paper, and then they put us on top of that.
Wow.
But everything went smooth. They were obviously trying to get us through as quick as possible because we were the only cargo on deck. But then it took 14 days to ship it to Gran Canaria. It's kind of a funny story. When we got to Gran Canaria, we got a few days early to get the paperwork all lined out and speak with customs and let them know that the ship's coming and go talk to the marina, get a slip, blah, blah, blah. And the shipping agency said, "Yeah, be down at the boat." We knew the ship came in from watching Ship Finder. They said, "Be down at the boat at 6 a.m. We're going to offload you." It's like, okay. We're at the boat at 5:30, and I just we're walking up to it, and I don't see my boat on top of the boat. I'm like, where is the on location? We don't wait for anybody. I run onto the tanker, up the gangplank or whatever you call it, run across, get up onto the deck, get up onto the deck of the tanker, and all I see is the tips of the riggers sticking up from over the side of the boat. And I'm like, I'm 30 minutes early. What was the plan here, guys? They
just had us in the slings on the side of the boat.
They're like, we're unloading paper. You're hanging. I'm like, holy smokes, it's going to take me 30 minutes to get everything, turned back on and ready. The boat's been turned off for 2 weeks. But it was kind of funny. I did not expect walking up to the ship and not seeing the boat on top of it.
At least you found it.
Yeah, we found it.
But no, it all went pretty smooth and easy. And we anticipated shipping back was going to be the same thing. We were just going to drive it 3 islands over and put it on a ship and hopefully ship it to Palm Beach. But with the research we've been doing, we're actually going to have to drive the boat to the Mediterranean.
We'll be shipping either from Palma de Mallorca or Genoa.
The ships westbound don't start until September, at least from this side. And so to get to Texas for the season, which we're planning on shipping back, we're going to have to take it hopefully to La Palma de Mallorca, which is just inside the Mediterranean. Otherwise, we got to drive it to Italy.
Wow.
So,
yeah. And the Med.
Another fun adventure, though. I'm sure there's a silver lining somewhere.
It's a really cool thing to get to experience and put on our resume and all that, for sure.
Just your logistical experience, mid 30s, whatever. You guys are the same age as us. Is just absolutely incredible what you guys have been able to do with that program and moving that boat from one side of the world to the other. It's impressive stuff. We love hearing about it.
Thank you.
It's fun.
It's been a challenge, but it's been a good one.
It's cool. It's really cool. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Satfish, Satellite Fishing Technology. If you've been fishing for any length of time, especially offshore, you should understand how important preparedness is to a successful day on the water or multiple days on the water. Satfish combines the latest high-definition satellite images and maps with advanced planning tools to make it easy to find the most productive offshore fishing grounds. Head straight to the bite zone instead of wasting time and fuel searching through lifeless water. You can visit satfish.com to check it out. Use the promo code SEARS22 for $20 off your first year, and that includes a free 30-day trial. Give it a look if you're a canyon fisherman. Sea surface temperatures, chlorophyll, bathymetry, it's all on there. Great resource. Great dashboard, easy to use, very intuitive. Check it out, satfish.com. Let's go back to blue marlin. So,
okay.
Obviously, it seems that blue marlin is your passion species.
That's definitely what we've been working at perfecting over the years, or trying to, I would say that's what's am I trying to say here?
Your strength?
It's our fish of choice, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what
He's too humble to say strength. He just he likes to keep it even keel. So blue marlin, you've caught them in the Pacific, you're from Texas, the Gulf, which is that fishery seems to be similar to kind of our Northeast Canyon fishery, the run, the distance, maybe fish behavior is similar. So kind of talk us through what, a lot of our listeners, we're fortunate enough to have a lot of listeners everywhere now, but our hub is the Northeast. So maybe kind of talk about some things you've noticed in regards to tactics or fish behavior from fishing the Fads to fishing the Gulf of Mexico to fishing Madeira. Are there just constants with blue marlin that you've seen everywhere? And how have you kind of changed up tactics from spot to spot?
Are you trying to insinuate that marlin are pretty constant and not too dynamic?
No, not at all. I think they're very dynamic. Although I will go down that rabbit hole for sure. But no, I guess what we're trying to say is you guys have caught a lot of blue marlin, and we don't have. We get, if we're lucky, a shot a trip at the canyon. So what are some things that you've seen that's all right, I do this every single time when I'm lure fishing. I do this every single time when I'm bait fishing. Just some of kind of the key ingredients to actually hooking, catching, and successfully releasing these things.
Well, I think every marlin is a little different. Obviously, that's what keeps it interesting every time you go out, but we in Costa Rica, we essentially teaser fished only. We pull 4 teasers and 2 dredges, and that really gives you a sense of the way the fish is going to behave, whether it's, let me restart here. Let's cut that.
I worry about the sound when you hit the table.
Oh, sorry.
The sound's fine, and what you just said makes absolute sense. So
Yes.
don't second guess yourself. You're good.
I'm trying to think here.
I see what you're saying. Teaser fishing, you don't have a hook in the water, so you get a lot more eyes on what's happening when the fish are attacking your baits. So you learn a lot about the behavior.
The way the fish is reacting to the teaser and the bait and what's happening behind the boat, for sure. Teaser fishing, you get a lot. You have to be more in tune with what's happening behind the boat.
It's so much more fun, I feel like.
And therefore, you get to see a lot more. You get to see every single bite.
You also get the opportunity to try and understand the fish a little bit more than if you're pulling J hooks.
Yeah.
The fun part about teaser fishing is just keeps the entire boat, the entire team involved in the experience. You know, there's a certain way I drive the boat that will present the angler with a better opportunity to get the pitch closer to the fish. Whoever's teasing the fish has to keep the bait in front of the fish while simultaneously not letting them get to it. You can't keep it too far, too close, and then getting the bite. Obviously, having a good angler that is knowledgeable and experienced with fishing with circle hooks helps. We have a way we teaser fish, but when we came over to Madeira, that was one of our main topics of discussion: is are we willing to see the 1,000-pounder? Because you'd see fish crash a teaser and go away in Costa Rica all the time. You don't get a bite out of every fish, but there you're going to see another fish, if not in the next 10 minutes, at least in the next hour. So, you know, it's much more forgiving. But are you willing to watch a 1,000-pound fish crash a long teaser and disappear? That's was our main discussion. Even though if you get one on a J hook, like we were talking about earlier, I much prefer circle hooks, how I can drive the boat, what the angler can do as far as drag pressure. If you have a J hook, you cannot drive the boat the way that me and Paul and our crew typically do, and the angler can't be as flexible with their drag pressure, I guess. And you're constantly worried about pulling that J hook. Once you get a fish with a circle hook, we can do whatever we want to manipulate that fish to come back up to the surface and try and get a quick release. We ended up trying to mix both of them up, and we'd fish hooks in the longs and teasers up short, while simultaneously, if we raised a lazy fish, we could tease the fish from the long rigger. We fish teaser tag lines, which you see a lot of people doing. It enables you to tease the fish smoother up to the back of the boat with a smoother transition. But I feel like if you are going to be fishing a J hook, having tag lines is an advantage. It's less drop back. And so mixing the two up, we could teaser fish and have a hook there, which we did catch. I think we caught 2 out of those 10 bites we didn't see. The fish just came up and ate the bait, and we're happy to have a lure there. And most of the time, the fish that we pulled off were in the shotgun position. And I just lost my head in Madeira because you don't see enough fish. And put a shotgun out there. I hate shotguns. Unless you're tuna fishing or trying to target a separate species, wahoo tuna, something like that. I just don't think you get a good angle on the bite with the shotgun. I don't think I should not have had the shotgun out there. If I could go back and change anything, we would have never put the shotgun out there.
Although we did catch a spearfish on the shotgun. That was cool.
Caught our first spearfish.
That's cool.
That's cool.
It was delicious.
That's what I've heard. I haven't eaten one. Claire caught one in Kona, but I've heard they're really good.
It was so good.
That was one of the first things they told us when we got there was if you catch a spearfish, we don't let those go.
Good, but this one was a really good size one, so we didn't feel bad keeping it.
But cool. I guess in watching blue marlin's behavior, to answer your question, we've been privileged to see a lot of them and how they react differently, and sometimes you just can't figure them out. Sometimes in Costa Rica, you'd raise, say, 15, and you'd only get 5 bites. And they just wouldn't be converting.
Keep talking.
It's okay. You guys are good.
Other times you'd raise 15 and you'd get bites out of 14 of them, you know?
You also, sometimes, like you said, you can't figure them out, but also with all of the fish that we have seen, we have been able to read them quite a bit better when the fish is behind the boat, figure out what that fish needs to get the bite.
It needs meaning like fish comes up on the teaser, how aggressive to pull the teaser away, stuff like that.
Like I said, the way we drive the boat to get the fish to the teaser.
The way you present the bait.
A lot of the times the angler, you'll get a fish that'll just be tracking a bait. And I always say, you just take your thumb off the spool a couple times, just kind of letting that bait slowly get back to the fish. And a lot of times you'll get the bite that way. And then we try and watch which way the fish eats. Most of the time they eat inside out, but a lot of the times they'll eat outside in on a really aggressive bite, especially if they're teasing from a long rigger. And I try and just turn the boat the opposite direction from whichever way the fish eats. If it eats inside out on the left side, I turn to the boat to the left, you know?
Yep.
And having a good angler that's rehearsed with that knows that when I turn the boat, that's about the time to start pushing it up when the fish is going away. We've had the experience to fish with, you know, obviously the owner of the boat has fished a lot of the time in Costa Rica with us and has released probably more than half of our blue marlin. And so Paul's really, really good on the rod. In Madeira, it was the same thing, you know, pitching fish. It's just on a grander scale, essentially, except for we never got the grander. But
Womp womp.
Yeah.
But he's also really good on the rod, and having a good angler on the rod. I think blue marlin, much different than tuna, are you can manipulate the way they fight. You know, if they want to stay down, you can turn the boat, increase drag pressure, reduce drag pressure depending on what the fish is doing to make the fish come up to the surface.
Something I saw Drake and Paul do that really, really impressed me when we were in Madeira, that I didn't really know what was going on at the time, was obviously we were fishing 130 the chair. Paul was fishing out of the chair, and he had a fish on, and by the way the fish was acting, both Paul and Drake determined that it was tail wrapped, and they determined it quickly. You know, like I like I said, I've seen a lot of fish. I've seen people catch a lot of fish. And I didn't know what was going on. And because they could tell that the fish was tail wrapped, they changed their entire tactic so that they brought the fish up as quick as possible, and then we dragged it behind the boat to oxidize its gills for a while, and then it was rejuvenated and swam away happy, and that was really cool. It was probably about a 700 pounder, right?
That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, it was a nice fish.
Yeah.
That's always a great feeling when it's inevitable in big game fishing. You're going to end up tail wrapping or foul hooking a fish and doing whatever. And it is a rewarding thing to be able to, you know, see the color come back on that fish and, like, you know, actually come back.
Yeah.
And get the revival and release.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. We were using a snooter in Costa Rica and
in Madeira.
I'm sorry, in Madeira, and our mate Andy, he held onto that fish for a long time. I'm pretty sure he had bruised ribs afterwards.
He did so good.
But yeah, I mean, it's fun to be able to manipulate the fish. And like I said, me and Paul almost don't even have to communicate anymore aside from go up, go down. And we were kind of curious. He's essentially only stand-up fishes in Costa Rica and everywhere, and doesn't have a lot of experience in the chair except for tuna fishing with you guys, essentially. And it was fun to make that transition, and everything was kind of the same, you know. I mean, he was the same on the rod and in the chair, with Katie driving the chair, and we drove the boat the same and caught most of our fish in under 30 minutes for sure.
Wow. It was awesome.
That's really cool.
It was really cool. He picked it. I mean, he made it look really easy.
Yeah, it was cool. That's what we were curious about. Is a big fish going to react the same as a small fish? And obviously, you have a 700 pounder that doesn't want to. It's a little bit more difficult, but you can get them to move up. And yeah, it was a fun experience. I'm excited to hopefully get some more big fish under our belt.
Yeah, I wish we could have caught more.
But yeah, in my limited experience there, a big fish reacts almost the same to a small fish.
Sometimes they're hungry.
Instead of 6 pounds of drag, you have 20 pounds of drag, you know?
Yeah.
Can we, I kind of want to go back to something that I think is really important. So a lot of the guys listening are canyon fishermen, like Brian said. And I've been in these shoes probably a dozen times now, where these fish, we see a lot of middle to larger size blue marlin in the canyons from 300 to 700 pounders. And they go down and they basically turn into a bluefin, in my opinion. They go down, pecks are out, and they don't want to move. And most of the guys fishing the canyons here are fishing 50s and 80s. Heavier leaders, and they have the ability to go up on drag.
It's all multi-species fishermen.
Multi-species.
They're not, most people going there aren't blue marlin fishermen.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are some tips to get these fish to come up? I've had 10-minute 500-pound blue marlin releases, and I've had 3.5 hour 500-pound blue marlin releases, and the major difference I saw is obviously the fish stayed in the surface. So what are you doing? You said you maneuver the boat, but can you go into more detail, like how you get these fish to come up?
I think the easiest way to, there's obviously different things I do that are with the boat and with the angler, but the easiest way to explain it is you never stay up and down on a blue marlin. If you're fighting a fish straight up and down, you're not doing anything. I would say I would never have a fish up and down. I'd move the boat away or do something. I always try and keep the fish off of one side of the boat or the other. I never really fight the fish square up to the transom either.
Huh.
And so it's all about angles. And if you get into a fish that doesn't want to move, a lot of times I'll turn around and look at my plotter and try and figure out which way is he going, or if there's a sea condition, you can tell which way he's going without looking at the plotter. But in Madeira, it's like a lake almost every day. And so, and is he going up current, down current? And then you just spin the boat and pull on him from another direction. A lot of the times you can also, that's my favorite tactic, is to spin the boat and pull on him from the complete opposite direction he's been swimming and settled into. Another tactic, if you do that, a lot of times I'll have Paul go back a little bit on the drag, creates a little bit of belly, and you can anticipate where the fish will hopefully come up. Another option is to go up on the drag and pull away from the fish in the same position you're pulling on him, if that makes sense. That's kind of just trying to get his head, as you say, you got his head turned, his head pointed up.
Yeah. That's like the same as a big bluefin approach for the most part. It's like pressure, and pull him the same direction he wants to come, and then eventually you'll get him into the spiral.
Exactly. And if I do something that's not working in a few minutes, I'll completely switch it up and do something else.
Huh.
You don't want to lose track of where you are in relation to the fish, because that's how you do end up with tail wraps. So you don't want to be out of control doing crazy circles around the fish, and then you're going to end up tail wrapping them, not figuring it out, and killing the fish essentially. But I just try my best to maintain and know which direction am I pulling on the fish, which direction is he swimming, where's my angler's drag at, and basically try and hit the fish with a switch up,
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And we hardly ever have to go up high on the drag.
Yeah.
So if that kind of explains it in a nutshell.
Once the fish gets comfortable, you kind of just...
And then once he's up, that's the fun part of blue marlin fishing.
Yep.
You got to go. And depending on how far that is, that's either backing up or going forward, just kind of depends.
Drake's really good at, obviously everything. Drake's really good at turning the bow around and chasing the fish forward, which gives you an opportunity when you've got a good angler to really pick up on that bow and the bow in the line. Yeah. And catch up to that fish quicker. When you see people backing down on a fish that's going far, that's a good way to not gain.
Totally.
I think the main thing is just always keep an angle on the fish. If you're up and down, you're not doing anything.
That was really good.
Yeah,
glad you asked.
That's it's what we ended up doing multiple times, and it definitely changed it. But you know, you're not always able to drive the boat all the time and make the decisions. So it's good to at least hear it from somebody that's done it a lot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, that's where a lot of the fun comes in is at least at the helm is trying to get that fish to come up to the surface, you know?
Now, kind of back to tackle, cause I'm a tackle geek. What are you guys changing up as far as like size teasers and things like that when you go from a place like Costa Rica to Gomera? Are you changing? Are you making everything bigger? Are you keeping it all the same? Are you?
We almost didn't change anything.
Just put some hooks in a couple of them.
I have some teasers that I really, really like. And they prove to work in Madeira as well as they do in Costa Rica. And I think it's more about tackle confidence, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You got to be confident in what you have behind the boat. If you have something out there that you've never raised a fish on, especially in Madeira, it's not going to last long back there, at least not for me. But no, yeah, we really didn't change up anything. We have some, you know,
Your favorites.
Favorites and standard size teasers that we use. I always have 2 dredges in the water, blue marlin fishing, and
we really like the firetails dredge. Most
of the time it's firetails mixed with mud flaps.
Yep.
And just blue marlin fishing, especially in other places, using bait is a commodity, and it's not something we can get over here. So you want something that you're going to be able to troll for a very long time, and not need to change out, you know. So we really like the firetails and mud flaps, but as far as dredge baits, but that and 4 teasers, and that's it. Like I said, I won't be, if I went back to Madeira, I would not pull a shotgun unless the big eyes came up.
Yeah. Have you noticed a major difference of getting blue marlin to come up with artificial dredges versus bait dredges?
If I were fishing a tournament, I would have at least 1 bait dredge.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're not able to do that here. I think if you can go natural, it's the way to go.
Yeah.
If you have the budget and time, go natural.
Yeah. That's what she said.
I fucking hate rigging mullets, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate rigging mullets. It's fucking brutal. That's one thing I love about the fact that we fish for tuna is like 20 miles from home, is we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Keeping on trend with the whole tackle topic. I'm gonna kind of change how
Perfect.
How this question is worded a little bit.
Yep.
You fished everywhere for blue marlin. A lot of places for blue marlin. If you were gonna pull one spread for blue marlin anywhere, any location,
teaser, or are you talking hooks?
like it doesn't matter. Like I'm just like it could be 5 hard heads, it could be two dredges, 4 teasers. What would your spread look like? Colors, everything, like down to the detail of what you're saying about firetails, all that. Like if you just had to pull one, you're going back off of Madeira to catch that G bomb that you guys missed on the left long. What are you putting out?
If I could fish anything, I'd have 1 mullet dredge and 1 mud flap mixed firetail dredge as my dredges.
What color? Or do you not care about color?
Man, I haven't put color on my dredges in so long, I don't even have an opinion for that.
So you're just like profile on that dredge. Like you like the firetail flap profile.
Yeah, exactly. That's just a profile dredge. That's and then just a natural mullet dredge has always been my go-to. I have a double XL poi dog that does not leave my left bridge teaser.
Vinyl or plastisol skirt on that.
I put almost vinyl on everything with my teasers, just because we've had lures taken from us with
the plastic skirts.
Yeah, with the rubber skirts. I think rubber skirts are fine if you're lure fishing, but if you're teaser fishing, we've had them get wrapped up. We've caught a fish with no hook in it on our teaser reel.
A blue marlin?
A blue marlin. And I've had so many take bigger, I like bigger teasers in my bridge teasers, and I've had so many take big teasers from me just because they get wrapped up in a rubber skirt. And,
how many Puerto Rican prowlers have we lost?
oh, we lost 2 Puerto Rican prowlers in 1 year.
And broke our pancake reel for the teaser.
And almost my wrist.
Yep. Yeah, they wanted it.
But all my teasers are skirted in vinyl now. And then I have a ruckus that normally lives on my left long. And
we have a doxy lure on the right long that's really good.
Yeah, that was our spread in Madeira. And then the right bridge teaser is kind of just up for grabs.
That's the one that I get to be creative with.
That's cool. There's always that one rod or teaser in the spread that you're just like constantly switching and trying new shit.
Oh yeah, that's my right bridge teaser for sure. I really don't. You can play around with that one because they're going to come to my left bridge teaser anyways. It doesn't matter.
Have you run 2 XL poi dogs?
So
look at her face.
We did.
How many XL poi dogs do we have, Drake?
I don't know. Katie made me quit buying them.
I got one
Sounds like a drug
we got one
problem.
from a good friend for our wedding gift.
That's incredible.
I think
Koya's gonna Eric's gonna love you in this podcast.
Yeah, he is.
I think I've got 6.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I was lucky enough to get one of them before everybody even knew. I was calling Melton's, and Melton didn't even know what I was talking about when I had my first one, because we went fishing and the fish came to it. It got the name Mongo in Costa Rica was the name of the lure, and the fish they came to it. We went out and I forget. I kept stats. 80% of the fish came to Mongo, and it almost became kind of a running joke because you'd be the first boat pulling up to a fad, and nobody had that teaser at the time, really. I got it from a buddy of mine in Costa Rica whose brother at the time was working in Eric's shop. But he got one, and I saw it, and I was like, I need one of those. How do I get one?
Man, they move some water.
And anyways, we'd be the first boat, and pulling up to a fad, there'd be 2 boats on it, and we're like, it's okay, don't worry. We'll get one on Mongo. And 8 times out of 10, you pull across there, and they come right to that left teaser. But
Mongo doesn't have a smooth spot on him.
That's awesome. But it's like shark skin. The head's like shark skin at this point.
Yeah. It's like a dogfish.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you tried Mongo on the right teaser?
Ew.
No.
Get that out of here, Taylor.
I'll tell you why is because we've got the pancake reels on this boat, and when it comes to the left teaser, I can use my right hand, which I'm stronger with my right hand than I am with my left hand. And so,
that's just from years of experience.
Alone.
A lot of long days on the
boat. But no, he's never gone in the right teaser. And I was hoping to switch a 1,000-pounder with him in Madeira, and then he would probably never go back in the water. It would be retirement.
Yeah. It's going in. Going in a shadow box at that point.
If you ever have an insanely banner day of fishing, try Mongo in the right teaser. I'm interested to see if that 80% still holds true.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, if it's just like some boats have a certain side 100% that catch more than the other side. Don't know why.
Absolutely.
You know, have you seen that over the course of the years on location? Is you know, the left side definitely more?
Definitely.
It's definitely more prominent. Yeah.
I think we all kind of just instinctively go to the left side.
So weird.
But just to clarify, most of the listeners are sport fishing nuts, but You're saying left side as a mate looking out the back of the cockpit.
Starboard side.
Starboard
side of the boat. Yep.
Starboard side of the boat.
How we view it as well.
That's awesome.
But to answer your question, we did at one point in time put 2 XXL poi dogs out in a moment of frustration. we ended up losing one just because it was too much.
This one was a yellow head, right, with a little bit of orange in it, and I named it Mango because it's funny. And Mango was with us for a long time, and we lost her on that one.
But yeah, so
she did good though. It was a good last hurrah.
I like it.
Oh my God.
But
I'm still laughing, trying to digest all of this. I'm still in. What's on your right long then? So left long is a Marlin Magic Ruckus. What's your right long?
Our mate Andy that came and worked in Madeira, works closely with Ryan Doxey there in Texas, and so he brought a bunch of heads from Ryan's shop, and one of his heads, I think he calls it Mr. Clean. It was an orange head with an orange rubber skirt, and it got bit on the right long one day, and then it had a stellar week. It saw like 3 fish or something in a week, and it held its position there for the rest of the season.
Nice.
What kind of head shape is that lure?
It's kind of similar to a 1656 if you're
slant. Yeah.
It was an angle, which the angle 1656 is a great lure too. But I mean, but yeah, that one was there, and then the right, like I said, the right bridge teaser kind of just got swapped out a lot. We never really settled anywhere there, but
that's cool.
But yeah, really, it all boils down to Mongo on that XX. I'd pull Mongo and 2 dredges and be perfectly happy.
I love it.
That's funny.
I love it. It's like us, like on the Fortuna, I'll fish just the down rod. That's all I need to fish on Fortuna. And on the center console, middle floater, about 50 yards away from the boat, doesn't matter what spot for some reason. That's as close as the tunas want to get to that boat.
What's funny is, I mean, I didn't run that boat that much last year, but out of all the bites, over 50% were on the down rod for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just you. Then.
Maybe you just, I mean, this could get weird
down
quick.
Rod dangle.
Why don't we go into a little bit more of the fads real quick? Like prepping a fad trip. How far are you going? What are you bringing for bait? What are the logistics involved in like what it's like fishing the fads?
I'm going to start this one.
Katie's going to start this one.
So for our fad...
Well, I'm assuming...
Right. The prepper.
Prepping, provisions, bait.
She does the hardest prep work for sure.
Oh my God. Once we leave the dock, it's like a damn vacation for me. All I have to do is cook and clean. Like, it's awesome. But beforehand, it is really, really difficult. We would leave anywhere from generally 3 to 5 nights offshore, and we had a crew of 5 at the time. We had 2 full-time mates, a night guy, so that the entire crew could get a good night's sleep, and then myself, stewardess with Drake. And we have 4 beds on the boat, 2 staterooms and a bunk in the hall. And so we generally would bring up to 4 people unless somebody had a spouse coming. But really, like that, I mean, you bring 4 people and that's 9 people on board. We have a 57-foot boat. So for those that don't know. And so that's provisioning for 5 days of fishing, 4 nights for 9 people is quite challenging. And it's not like you run out of something and you can just go in and get some more mayonnaise or whatever it might be. So,
well, and since Katie's been on the boat, we don't eat ham and cheese sandwiches either.
Oh yeah, that's one of my selling points. That was one of my selling points when I quit my career job working for oil and gas with Paul. I convinced him that I could make great meals on board and that he could pay me to do so. So that was really cool, and it was really, really great of him to give me this opportunity. But so provisioning, out of the United States, oftentimes too, I mean, especially in Costa Rica, it was like 3 different stores, none of which have air conditioning, of course. So you're going and it's so hot there. You're in a valley. It's humid, but you have to run around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to get everything you need for those amounts of days. But it's not just meals for 5 days or 4 nights. It's also like categorizing what can go in the freezer, what you can eat. Like the last night would always be canned, something like chicken and dumplings, things that come out of the can in the freezer, and you throw it in the crock pot and you're good to go. And the first few days would be things like fresh produce and that sort of thing, because we can't keep produce on for too long in these fridges.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So provisioning was quite a challenge, but it was really also, it's like a puzzle.
As far as the fishing aspect of it,
And the bait.
It's pretty simple because you catch your bait out there. We would always...
Which means I had freezer space, thank God.
We would always pitch... you catch the fads are essentially aggregating small tunas, small yellowfins, small bonitas, and you go catch those, and that's your pitch bait.
Just little feathers and stuff, like just little jets, feathers,
just
stuff like
feather.
that.
I mean, bait was not hard to catch. No, we'd put 3 little feathers in line. Nothing fancy. I mean, on 400 pound even, so you can just yank them in as quick as possible. If it got a little trickier, all you had to do was put a planer on it. It's not like some places in like the Gulf where catching bait, you have to be skilled to catch bait. No, we'd call it going to the bait shop. You just drive over the fad with the feathers out. You know, how many do you want?
It also gives the night guy something to do too.
But yeah, and then at night you can just jig them up with a little jig, and you can catch little tunas all night long. They get off of the fad at night, but.
How far were the fads?
We had a cool crew, like Katie said, and we had 2 full-time mates, her and then a night guy. And the night guy, to stay entertained at night, would, if we weren't moving between fads, would catch bait and rig the bait at night, so that the full-time crew would just wake up, have rigged baits, and go fishing. But so bait was pretty easy. We'd always leave with fresh line, obviously, but the fads themselves started at 70 miles and went all the way out to 150.
So it's like a canyon run.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You leave the night before and just chug out there, fish as many days as you can, and then chug back, you know?
And most of the time, like, that's the summer season is the fad season, which is the rainy season in Costa Rica. But most of the time, the weather was really good. I mean, it might rain, but it wasn't rough seas, with the exception of a couple really rough situations.
I'm sure you don't have the high elevation out there building that moisture. So like you're probably able to dodge those storms a little easier out there and kind of see it coming, or am I completely off saying that?
You get kind of numb to the rain and the lightning down there.
Is that for being struck by lightning so many times?
I mean, no, we.
There were times when I'm like, "Is this safe?"
There was a few times where we pulled away from the storm, but most of the time, I mean, you're fishing one spot in the ocean, and if you get outside of it, you're not going to catch anything. And so, if the storm moves in, you either fish in the storm or you don't catch anything.
Yeah.
And Paul is so mad at the fish that he doesn't care. He doesn't care if we're fishing in a storm.
Oh no. Paul, it can be 10 feet. We had a really great day. We raised 17 fish one day, and it was all the other boats left. It was 40.
So rough. My crock pot nearly hit the ceiling.
Holy shit.
It's like fully aft too. We have an aft galley, which is awesome. So it's like in the most stable part of the salon, and it just went woo. So did our night guy off the couch.
I do love how the galley's set up in that boat. Being able to look out that back window into the cockpit, you're like still feel in it the whole time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You can get out there quick, and also it's so stationary.
It's awesome.
But
stable, I guess, is the better word.
You got it. We knew what you meant.
The things I put on the counter are more stationary.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, asked Paul, I was like, it's really bad out here. I mean, you could not catch a fish backing any direction except for down sea. So it was, talk about driving on the fish earlier. It was, you go you go forward up sea and then back down sea if you could. It was, I mean, it made it fun for me. It was a little more interesting. And I asked Paul, I was like, I think we should go in a little bit. It's getting pretty sporty out here. Like maybe go into the 80-mile fad. He's like, well, I don't know. We saw a lot of fish today.
He is an animal.
If Drake, yeah, no.
I love it.
Go in a little bit, it's bad.
But I was like, okay, yeah, let's put the sea anchor out. Yeah. And we decided to stay. But then that night I got two, and that's what I was going to say is Paul he ate and went to bed like it was nothing. And then we got 2 phone calls that night, essentially warning phone calls like, hey,
from
Chip Schaefer and Bubba Carter both called me, and they said Chip was in Florida at the time, just looking at the weather and knew we were out there, and he called and was like, Drake, where you at? And I was like, I'm sitting on Cerveza, which was 125, 130. He's like, well, you better get inshore. He's like, how's the weather? I was like, it's pretty bad. He's like, it's only going to get worse, and thank God we heeded the warning. If those two tell you to move, you move. You move.
That storm turned into Hurricane Harvey.
But
That's right. I'm piecing together the timeline here.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the first and only time I've ever been scared on this boat. Was we had to pull the sea anchor in that, and my job, thankfully, was up in the bridge with the spotlight, and I was told, okay, keep a spotlight on the buoy, and then if someone falls overboard, keep a spotlight on them. And I'm like, what? Yeah, no, that was challenging. That was scary.
Whether that far out is just like exponentially more nerve-wracking for obvious reasons. But
shouldn't have been the case, but it was so rough and the wind was against the sea. Mm-hmm. Our painter line for the sea anchor drifted back on top of the main line for the sea anchor, and it basically tied a bimini knot with the painter line. And so we had to go pull it in by hand on the bow in the rain.
And we don't have a bow rail.
And a 12-foot sea. It was not fun.
So you can't trip it because they're both tied together. So you're just, it's like when your kite goes in the water and you have to
trying to reel in a kite.
Thing.
It's harder than reeling in a tuna.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is.
What's the,
that's funny.
What's the craziest or coolest thing you guys saw at night out there?
Ooh. One day I really liked this. I went outside, and so we have our lights on at night, right? And there was like a massive school of triggerfish in the lights, and they were just like, hello. It was like the aliens on Toy Story.
Yeah, the little toys that like with the claw.
I have been chosen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I am your master.
That's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, I liked that.
That's one of my favorite parts about being out there is the nighttime stuff you see.
Yeah, but like crossing at night, when you have no ambient light, you're off the coast of Costa Rica and the sky is super clear. Like, I mean, we've seen some crazy, crazy skies and beautiful. I think one night when we were traveling, I counted over 300 shooting stars. It was obviously a meteor shower.
Wow.
But stopped counting at 300. I was like, this is everywhere you look, there were stars falling, which was just insane. It was like I had the 1 to 4 a.m. shift, and it was the coolest shift I've ever taken.
That's awesome.
We've spent a lot of nights out there and a lot of sunsets, and I don't know about y'all or your beliefs or if you've seen it, but I always look for it, and I've never seen the green flash.
I've never seen it either.
Yeah.
You're talking about right when the sun reaches the horizon, it's supposed to flash, right? Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
But we have seen what we strongly believe, and this is not like we didn't have this belief system beforehand, but leaving the coast in Costa Rica before for a bad trip, pretty sure we saw a UFO.
Cool. We saw one last year, pretty sure.
Yeah.
Ended up being a planet, I guess.
Yeah.
Supposedly, like the professionals said it was a planet.
I'm
pretty sure it was a UFO. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we've seen one too, but I don't,
You don't tell people about it?
But yeah, I wasn't gonna bring it up.
Oh, sorry. No, that was a trip. That one was a real trip. I wasn't on the boat, but Drake told me a story about. Tell him about the plane that came real close.
Oh shoot, that's a pretty interesting thing that
I didn't want to give a spoiler there.
That's excellent.
We were fishing down by Golfito, which is just right on the border with Panama. And we wake up one morning and we're going fishing like it's a normal day, catching bait, getting ready, and a big Costa Rican, I guess it's not a Navy ship, it was more like a Coast Guard ship, but it's a large cutter for Costa Rica, is about 4 miles off of us, and they're just kind of hanging in the area for quite a while. But then we see them dump the rib, and we're fishing in one spot, and then the rib comes out, and then there's a few thunderstorms around, but then all of a sudden, I mean, we're fishing, so we weren't paying attention to everything, but the rib is in full pursuit of a ponga boat, and we're like, holy smokes!
When you say ponga, it's like
there's a drug chase going on right here, right next to us, and we watched it, and it was funny. I guess the Coast Guard rib like kept kind of slowing down, and we don't know if they were having fuel issues or somebody was in the back pumping the ball fast enough or what. But anyways, a storm started to really gather offshore, and I remember we're sitting up there. I was like, if I were them, I'd just haul straight into that storm, lose them on radar, lose everything, and that's what they ended up doing. But we saw them go into the storm and then lost them. But the funny part was the following morning, the cutter calls me on the radio, and they say, prepare your boat to be boarded. And I was like, okay, I'll pick a rigger up, I guess. And they come, and it was a little rough, and we didn't allow it. They asked for some paperwork, and the funniest thing was on the radio is they said, Captain, have you seen anything out of the norm, essentially, anything unusual? And I was like, aside from you chasing that ponga around yesterday, like, no, everything's been pretty normal. And they came, and we showed them our paperwork, and then they left, and everything was fine. But then later on in the day, a plane was flying around. I guess it was a radar plane or a search plane looking for that ponga. Well, they came, and like they got on the deck. I mean, they couldn't have been more than 20, 30 feet off the water, which
my God,
there looks really close. And then did a full approach straight at our cockpit. I mean, just dead in line with us, like they're about to open fire. And everybody on the boat obviously froze, like, what is this plane about to do? Like, and then they veered, and I mean, they were almost at the tip of our rigger. And somebody on board got a photo of the plane as they passed, and they did that twice. Came back, and I guess they were just taking photos of us. We were taking photos of them, but it was a pretty crazy experience. And then I was like, "There's no way we're going back to shore and we're not getting searched or something." Never heard anything else about it. But
that's wild.
That is.
It was pretty crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That is wild.
So there's some picture of you somewhere of going like this, like,
yeah,
like totally freaked out, like looking up on your bridge.
Definitely a photo somewhere.
It's like face
Yeah.
Drake's got pee running down his leg.
Yeah, exactly. There's a wet spot in his board shorts.
In front of the helm, I don't know. But,
oh, that's incredible. That's really cool.
So the Fads seem like they're a pretty, I mean, it sounds like one of your favorite places you've ever fished.
As far as if you want to catch numbers of blue marlin, it's the spot to go.
Yeah.
We were really privileged to get there and get in.
at the time that we did.
I mean, the first two Fads were when we first got there, and then it became a little bit more popular. The word got out. People started setting them. Marinas started setting them. The numbers became more. There were more of them, and became, there
were memberships formed.
Yeah, they're
like
just
that.
more and more people knew about it, and were going. And so now, I mean, if you want to go, you can go down there and catch blue marlins. And But we got in at the ground floor essentially of the fad fishing, which was pretty cool.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
What was your best day there? How many blue marlin did you say?
Our best game was 22 with Paul.
To the boat.
Switch too.
What's that?
22 bait and switch.
To the boat, right? Yeah.
To the boat. Yeah, I think we had over 35 bites that day.
That's
That
wild.
was so cool.
And Paul always likes to set goals, which is really cool because it keeps us, striving to be better.
Yeah.
And he called me one day and he's like, "Do you think I want to come down and I want to catch 100 in a trip?" Like, okay, we'll have to do a turnaround trip because we can only stay out for 5 days. 6 nights is our limit, essentially, on fuel and provisions. And I was like, we'll have to do a 5-day turnaround. I was like, let's do it. I don't think the crew really appreciated it.
6 nights, 5 days,
So
and then a 1-day turnaround. We didn't sleep at the dock.
Came in, refueled, reprovisioned, back out 5 days, 6 nights. And
That was wild.
in 10 days of fishing, just trying to average 10, we caught 102.
That was cool.
Sick.
And
There was like a rainbow over that last fish and everything. Like, I mean,
but yeah, it was
crazy.
He set the goal, and we were on 99 for what felt like forever. It was like we're not going in without this fish. We'll run out of fuel.
That's amazing.
It's like trying to put the last haddock in the box on a groundfish trip.
Yeah, it takes the whole second half of the day.
Yeah, you gotta wait a whole tide change.
You'll
to get
spend
one haddock.
If the limit's 75, you'll catch 74 in the first 2 hours of fishing, and that 75th haddock will take 5 more hours. Yeah.
You gotta get it.
Oh yeah, half.
We'll always play a joke saying the last person to put the fish, the last fish in the box wins $100, and we'll do that bet every day. The customers are jacked up. Everybody wants that $100. They want to put the last fish in the box. So that last fish comes up every day. I go over and I unhook it from their rig and I put it in the box, and they go, "All right, I won $100." I'm like, no. I put the last fish in the box. And we've had customers get pissed at us, like literally, like it's a joke throughout the whole. They don't realize the joke. They think we're dead serious, and I think it's the funniest freaking thing ever.
That is hilarious.
Oh yeah,
Hilarious, yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
If they want to put their own fish in the box, they can win the $100, but they never do.
Yeah.
They never take their own fish off and put it.
They don't even put their own clams on the hook.
Oh god. As you can see, we love our haddock season, which is the first month and a half.
It's our real pride and joy. No, we don't mind it. We're just striped bass and tuna fish is what we prefer.
Yep.
Well, guys, believe it or not, we've been going for almost 2 hours.
Isn't that insane?
It goes by quick.
That does get by
quick.
And it's fun.
This
It was fun.
This was awesome. I'm like so happy to kind of sort of meet you, Katie. I know we'll meet in person at some point.
Hopefully in the next few weeks.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed. We're always optimistic. I mean, just as a fisherman, you always have to be. So it's hopefully it all comes together. Even if we only get over there for a couple days and get to pull on a few 100 inches, that'd be pretty epic stuff.
I'm hoping so. So yeah, I'll definitely keep you posted as soon as I know something. But yeah, if y'all could come over here and see this fishery and teach us your knowledge, that would be
So cool.
unbelievable.
We're
really hoping for it.
It looks incredible. And if it doesn't happen, we hope you guys get out with as many of your friends and your network that you now have there and are able to experience it more yourselves. So it's there. I mean, as you guys know, you've been fortunate enough to see them and catch them in other places too. And we know that, billfish and blue marlin are your, obviously your pride and joy, but there is something special about those big tuna fish. They're really crazy animals.
I've been learning a lot about these Atlantic bluefin, and they're just mind-blowing. They are very, very cool animals.
There's definitely not another fish in the ocean that'll test your tackle. Like, you have
100%.
You have to be.
You have to be. You have to be.
Yeah.
And it has to be strong, but it has to be dainty, especially over here. It's like the perfect balance. Like they're so smart, but they're so strong. So it's really kind of it tests you, you know, in many facets. So that's really what intrigues us about them the most, and the fact that we're fortunate enough to catch them sometimes less than 10 miles, you know, from home and in our backyard is you know, we're fortunate to do it. So if we get the opportunity to go catch them elsewhere in the world with you guys and get to say we've caught them in, you know, Canada and here and, you know, wherever else, it'd be cool for us all. So hopefully it all comes together. But I know Drake's not the social media guru, but Katie is. So if people want to follow what you guys are doing, or specifically you, Katie, and what the On Location program is doing, how do people follow you on social media?
I'm primarily on Instagram, and it's C with Katie, CSEA, and a period between each word. Katie spelled Katie.
Awesome. A lot of different content on there. I love following your Instagram. It's like a really good balance of fishing and just
I love seeing Drake in the back.
I do too. I absolutely love it.
Hilarious.
Maybe he'll do it a little bit more because I really have to wrangle him in.
Yeah. What's fun
really
with people that don't, I mean, you know, we've been able to spend, you know, a couple weeks together, but everyone that sees him speak or whatever, it's like his confidence level, until you're with him, you don't really understand
how good he is.
Not even that, just like to go to a bar with him is absolutely hilarious.
Oh, unbelievable.
Opens right up, you know, a good time. But like, you know, when you're talking about fishing and, you know, you got a camera in front of your face or whatever, it's like you're so much more humble and take a back seat. It's pretty funny to see.
I have some awesome pictures of you from the Tuna Cup back in the day when we fished that tournament with Paul at the banquet that are just like absolutely legendary. I'll have to dig one. I might even post one of them as like one of the thumbnails for this episode. It's hysterical.
That was one of the worst plane rides of our life. That was really fun though. Took second place.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I think one of the funniest memories I have is when we were pulling into the hotel that night. One of the nights we had a good time, and you were driving us back into the hotel, and you were speaking fluent Spanish to the person at like the gate. Basically,
at least we thought it was fluent.
Yeah, we thought he was speaking fluent Spanish. We're not really sure, but you know, it was the person asked what his name was, and it was fluent Spanish, Drake Sawyer, fluent Spanish. It was like absolutely hilarious, like the most, you know, American name ever, like hilarious, you know.
Calling out Sinai and Koala for Red Bulls. It would just be like exactly fluent Spanish, Red Bull, fluent Spanish. It's just absolutely unbelievable.
It is.
But yeah, no, you know, it's awesome to talk to you guys. You're a breath of fresh air. There's not too many couples that work together on a sport boat and are as successful as you and have a program like you guys run. So it's a pleasure to talk to you, and thanks for sharing knowledge and stories. And I know we had a blast doing this, and our listeners will get a lot out of it. So thank you guys very much.
So much for having us. The pleasure was all ours for sure. It was really fun to be on here and talk to y'all.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see.
Fish with you guys soon.
Yeah. No. Hopefully we'll fish with you there. And if it doesn't work out, invite's always open to come here.
Yeah, you're flying here
and pull on a few tunas here too. So
nice.
So thank you guys. We're gonna end this real quick on our father's 3 words of fishing wisdom. Remember, you can't catch them if you don't have a hook in the water. Always trust your instincts. And the last one, you'll just have to keep listening. Stay tight, everybody. Guys, thank you so much, Katie. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Later. We'll stay in touch.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later this week or next week. Keep us posted if Paul dials in dates or whatever, but we're standing by.
Will do.
Cool.
Sure.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
See ya.
Feel better.
Thank you. Thank you very much for tuning in to the SeaBros Fishing Podcast. If you would like more information about today's guest, our episode and show sponsors, Or if you want to order hats and apparel, please visit our website at SeaBrosFishing.com. You can also stay up to date on all the latest SeaBros fishing content and podcast episodes by following us on Instagram at SeaBros Fishing. Finally, to book a trip with us through our family-run charter fishing company, please visit massbayguides.com or see our latest updates and fishing reports by following Mass Bay Guides on Instagram and Facebook.